Welcome to the program. This is the AM News. Details now. Chief Justice Gertrude Tokono has justified her recommendation to President Akufo-Addo to consider 5 judges for the Supreme Court, citing the heavy workload at the courts. Among the recommended judges is Justice Ifyasewa Asare-Botwe, who is currently presiding over the Attoforsen trial. Explaining the adjournment of the ruling on the injunction application in the anti-LGBTQ case to July 17, 2024, Justice Tokono emphasized the need for more Supreme Court judges.
As to, there are several cases pending, right? That's why we need more Supreme Court judges. Discussion must be placed in context.
It would have been very wonderful to see 3 chambers of the Supreme Court sitting at the same time. One in the whole Supreme Court upstairs, and then perhaps
you should build a new Supreme Court building for the nation.
Right.
Or the Minister of Finance should.
The panel will be reconstituted. All right.
And Minister of State at the Finance Ministry, Abinose Asare, has told Parliament that government conducted a value for money audit in releasing funds for the stalled National Cathedral project. According to the minister, who was responding to questions, 339 million Ghana cedis has been released for the project, which is still at the foundation level and has stalled for months. Here's a report.
For money audit done on the project in 2021 by Kesley Doyumo Group. Also, a statutory audit of the National Cathedral of Ghana accounts by Deloitte Ghana was started in July 2023 and is ongoing. The auditors had concluded the audit of the 18-month account ended 31st December 2020. Meanwhile, preparations are in place for the auditors to complete the remaining accounts for the periods ended 31st December 2021, 2022, and 2023. I remember that from the onset, the Ministry of Finance mentioned that our contribution to the National Cathedral will be the land and some seed money, and this was in the budget, previous year's budget. I can't state exactly which year, but clearly it was in the budget that we were going to give some seed fund and the land as our contribution to that. So, Mr. Speaker, that is what I can say to that. But clearly, we have records to show how much we have paid. And so it is not something that is not transparent enough. We all know how much we have paid.
Meanwhile, Abinose Asare has also told the House government released in excess of 40 million cedis to NADMO to deal with floods in the country in 2023. She also said an additional 30 million to procure disaster relief items to support persons affected by floods was released.
And the Ministry of Finance in 2023 released a total amount of 40.75 million Ghana cedis to NADMO to respond to disaster issues. The release was done on the 14th of September 2023. Further to the above, Ministry of Finance also approved 30 million commencement warrants on 27th November 2023 to NADMO to procure disaster relief items to support persons affected by the recent disasters across the country. Mr. Speaker, the various amounts I know have been captured in the votes and order paper for today, but the total is 42.835 million 200 Ghana cedis. Mr. Speaker, it is our candid view that the respective ministries, departments, and agencies, that's the MMDAs, also propose policy measures that will support persons whose livelihoods have been affected by the recent floods. These measures will also address future preventive actions that will mitigate any future occurrence.
It will be recalled that at the height of the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020, the president announced himself and his government officials will donate the whole or part of their salaries towards the fight against the pandemic. The ministry says 1.78 million cedis were realized from those donations, which went into the fight against COVID-19.
Apart from the Honorable Minister, the former Minister for Finance, Honorable Kenufuriata, whose salary has already been fully committed to the Ghana Institute of Linguistics, Literacy and Bible Translation. Gilbert. The office holders, including His Excellency the President and the Vice President, had related deductions between April and June of 2020, amounting to 1,781,894 Ghana cedis, 38 pesos. And it is shown below that in April 2020, 81 office holders contributed 637,998 Ghana cedis, 77 pesos. And this was on 22nd of June 2020. And May 2020, 82 office holders contributed 638,098 Ghana cedis, 77 pesos. And in June 2020, 64 office holders contributed 505,796,084 Ghana cedis. And so totaling the 1.7 million I mentioned.
Now, still from Parliament, the Speaker Alban Sumana Kingsford Bagbane has bemoaned the increase of verbal attacks across Ghana's media space by political actors and called on traditional and religious leaders to contribute to national discourse in order to help strengthen the country's democracy. The Speaker made this call in Techiman during a public forum as part of activities to mark the 30th anniversary celebrations of the 4th Republican Parliament. And Asabit has more.
After 30 years of uninterrupted parliamentary democracy, Parliament, as part of a series of activities to commemorate this feat, held a public forum at the Palace of the Hensahene in the Techiman municipality of the Borno East region. A program which was held under the theme 30 years of parliamentary democracy under the Fourth Republic. The journey thus far saw stakeholders including Nananom colorfully gracing the occasion. Speaker of Parliament Alban Sumana Bagbane underscored the relevance of the celebrations, which explains to the public the true definition of democracy.
People do this because of lack of information, the lack of knowledge. We have been along this for 30 years. If you ask Ghanaians, what is democracy? They say, Kabi Namin Kabi. That is not democracy. That is not democracy. It's not about talking. Even when you don't have anything to say, you say it.
He decried the pollution of Ghana's media space by political actors with unpalatable words and noted that the true leaders of our country have been prevented from contributing to national discourse.
Every morning, everywhere, every radio station, few uncountable TV stations, and people are there, youth are insulting each other. What is this? We are missing something. And one of the things that we are missing is that we have allowed in this country the non-leaders to lead the country. The true leaders of our people are the traditional leaders. The kings, the queens, the queen mothers are the religious leaders. These are the true leaders we have. Yet, because of education, school, you go and learn the white man's language and the white man's knowledge. Then they made you chief over chiefs.
Vice President of the Borno East Regional House of Chiefs and Chairman of the occasion, Nana also Seche III, appealed to major political parties across the country to embrace peace and stay away from violence as we prepare towards the December polls.
Afi, Amanyo Afi, Yabasre, Kasatia, Unu Yagina, Uni Batia Uma, Na Ejase, Ayokura. Uni Yagina, not just a boy tamfo, Timasre Amanyo, Sabati Madia to me, Afi Amanyo Afi, Yabasram. A first, I was seated to my room to be done. My to say, Obikasana on Tiasia, 7 years ago, yet you near time.
Reporting for Joy News, Anas Sabit, Techiman.
Let's do some election stories now. Board Chairman of the National Peace Council, Dr. Ernest Edujimfi, has called on stakeholders in Ghana's elections to foster trust among themselves as the country heads to the polls in December. Dr. Dujemfi added that these mistrusts have often led to tension and considerable violence in every election since the beginning of the Fourth Republic. The following report has more.
Speaking at the inauguration of the Committee on the Code of Conduct on Vigilantism and Elections, Dr. Eduenchi said the issue of vigilantism that characterized the 2020 elections posing a severe threat to the country's democracy and hopes the newly inaugurated committee will ensure it does not recur in this year's elections.
Since the Fourth Republic, all elections have seen mounting tension and considerable violence. There is mistrust among stakeholders in the election management system. This is not healthy for our democracy. Our objective as the foremost peace-building institution in Ghana is to have a political environment that is characterized by consensus building and a political system that has the capacity to address differences at any time such differences may arise. This is because protracted election-related disputes gives us cause to worry, as insurgents are always lurking around to use our vulnerabilities for their nefarious ends.
NDC's Director of Conflict Resolution, Abraham Amaliba, who represented his party, said the committee instituted by the Peace Council is a good step towards the free and fair elections. Mr. Amaliba indicated the new Code of Conduct will serve as a self-regulatory mechanism to guide the party in ensuring the successful conduct of the December polls devoid of violence and the use of vigilantism.
With this initiative, members of the political parties will be required to play in accordance with the Code of Conduct. We, as a political party, would then have to educate our members on the Code of Conduct. So from here, I would go back to the party headquarters and initiate a move to educate our members across board.
MPP's Director of Finance and Administration, William Yamoa, said his party does not have any vigilante group and will also abide by the new Code of Conduct on Vigilantism and Elections. William Yamoa indicated that the MPP has confidence in the security agencies and will not involve vigilante groups in the 2024 elections.
We believe in the institutions of this country, and that is the police service, the military, or the Ghana Armed Forces. We don't believe in any groups of people who act as vigilante groups or security. And I want to take you back a bit. We recently had our internal elections, and then we gave the entire security activities, we entrusted everything to the care of the police. And then there was no incidents or chaos or violence-related incidents at any of the centers. So if even our own internal activities, we entrusted the security operations to the care of the security, then that should give you the assurance that NPP believes in the institutions of this country.
All the parties present pledged their commitment to a peaceful elections in December. Kenneth Jesse's report read to you.
Away from that, the ambassador of the Kingdom of Netherlands, Jeroen Verheul, has announced a collaboration between Ghanaian and Dutch institutions to explore the history of slavery and the slave trade. This partnership aims to illuminate untold stories preserved in both written archives in the Netherlands and oral traditions in Ghana. The Netherlands ambassador emphasized the importance of remembering the atrocities of the slave trade to prevent their reoccurrence and highlighted the ongoing issue of human trafficking. There's more in this report.
The idea of the project is for the University of Ghana's Institute for African Studies to collaborate with the Zeeuws Archive in the Netherlands. The collaboration focuses on building a joint exhibition on the slavery past between the Netherlands and Ghana. Currently, both organizations are holding an exhibition on the transatlantic slavery past and their collections and objects for the joint exhibition. The ambassador of the Kingdom of the Netherlands, Jeroen Verheul, says the collaboration between Ghana and Dutch Institute is to shed light on the history of slavery and slave trade.
Because that is a shared history between Ghana and the Netherlands. So we asked the Zeus Archives, which contains the written archives of a number of institutions in the Netherlands, and the Institute of African Studies of the University of Ghana, to collaborate and to produce this exposition. And this exposition shows the two sides of the coin. The archives show the written part, but a lot of the history is not written, which is handed over in oral tradition or in festival tradition. And that is the part that the Institute of African Studies has dug up and have shown here. And the written part is done by the province of Zeeland.
Former director of the Institute of African Studies at the University of Ghana, Professor Joji Chikata, emphasized the need to market the idea of freedom and, more importantly, firm up the linkages between Ghana and Netherlands.
We wanted a kind of team that will actually reflect this kind of bond between us within the continent and our brothers and sisters that we're taking across the Atlantic. So we embark on research into enslavement in Ghana. When we got to Salaga, a lady poured libation. And this has been a tradition since the time of domestic, trans-Saharan and transatlantic slave trade. It has been a tradition of this particular family to connect individuals that have been taken away to their families using libation as a lens.
Carl Amper, who is responsible for the UNESCO Culture Program in Ghana, says the good part of culture be monetized and there should be supporting systems to help in that direction.
There's the normative part of culture, which are the dances and all of that, but it also is able to create wealth, create jobs, and that's also very important. UNESCO also pushes that agenda and ensures that countries will integrate culture into their development plans. That's the idea. So it's not just about maybe drumming and dancing and that's it. How can you monetize your creativity, your innovation? So in the area of music, the area of film, name them. That we're calling the creative and cultural industries. So government needs to pay a lot of attention and prepare the ground for them to be able to thrive.
The two organizations are coming together with the Embassy of the Kingdom of Netherlands to showcase these exhibitions at Elmina Castle, Asha Fort, IAS, the University of Ghana and the Netherlands. Through the three-part exhibition, the Zeeland Archives tells the story of transatlantic slavery through the eyes of the people who were there themselves. The first part is about the preparation for the journey and departure. The second part is about the ship's journey, in which rebellion and resistance receive special attention. And the third part is about the arrival in the West Indies, the return journey and homecoming. Abdallah Osman's report read to you.
The surprises in this year's edition of the National Science and Maths Quiz keeps growing by day as Presby Senior High School, Bompata, are the latest to join the batch of schools making their first appearance at the national stage. The school has for years yearned for a spot at the national tournament, but fell short after a series of defeats. But in a keen contest against Trinidad Kodia Senior High School and Edujemfi Senior High School, the Edikanfor escaped a near defeat to qualify. Emmanuel Bright-Kweku reports from Kumasi.
Let us put our hands to the wheel together. Let us represent our school. To mold the seasoned youth, to mold the seasoned youth in us.
And the surprises in the Ashanti region keeps increasing by day. We are having some new schools join us for the national stage. And just about now, Bompata Presby SHS are now qualified for the first time to the national stage of the National Science and Maths Quiz. And they are so excited. You can see from them. Let me find out from you. You are a contestant. How do you feel taking your school to the nationals for the first time?
We feel very, very great because we have struggled under a lot of pressure. So today we are victorious. We are very grateful to the Lord. We thank the Lord.
Okay, if you say you've struggled, what do you mean by it? Is it that you were burning the midnight candle?
Yeah, we studied throughout the night and all those stuffs. So we have struggled a lot.
If you look through our subsequent contest, we wasn't discouraged, but God is with us. That's why we have won that contest.
We are coming for the big boys and the big girls. We are coming for them, so they should watch out for us.
Okay.
Yes.
Now tell me how the struggles has been all these years.
In fact, over the years, we come into the regionals, either we place second or third, then we go home, then back to the drawing board. You try several things over and over, and you don't succeed. But this year, we were so blessed by the grace of God, and then we have the right thing, the right variables in place, and everything has worked perfectly for us this time. So it is really a big breakthrough for us.
Watch out for us, because this time we are coming with full vim, and we are sure we are going to be victorious at the end of the day.
Are you not scared of Prempeh College over us?
Oh, no. We are not scared at all. Like,
somebody saying they are small boys. Do you agree?
Yes, we are small boys. Everything happened anytime. So, Mom Function with Stream say, Eddie Camfor, we started. This time we are coming.
Now my boy.
We started.
Eddie Camfor.
We started.
Eddie Camfor.
We started.
Eddie Camfor, for us, we are always the lions. We are not like the sheep to be keep quiet everywhere. Though we are the lions, but lions don't talk to sheep, so we are the lions, and we don't have to mingle ourselves with the sheep. So I know we won.
So if you are saying the sheep, what are you talking about?
You know, sheep, lions. We are the lions, and we don't make noise too much.
Though they may be greenhorns, they are coming in with much fire. They tell me they are going back to the drawing board to prepare harder as they come into the national championship. And so these are the students from Bompata Presby SHS. Eddie Camfor.
Restarted.
Eddie Camfor.
Restarted.
Eddie Camfor.
Restarted.
Well, they say they started it, and you should hope that once they come into the national championship, they are going to start fireworks. From here at the K University Auditorium, my name is Emmanuel Brantquick.
Coming up next is Business Updates with Benjamin Nakakbo.
Thank you for staying for business. Now, the Ministry of Communications and Digitalization has announced that Cabinet has approved the Digital Economic Policy. The Deputy Minister of Communications and Digitalization, Charles Echampong, disclosed this at the expanded launch of the PAIX data centers in Accra.
These are very exciting times for the communication sector in Ghana. The ministry is championing government's digital agenda to ensure that Ghana participates fully in this fourth industrial revolution. Cabinet has recently approved the digital economy policy with 5 prioritized thematic areas to enable the ministry to track the digital journey in Ghana. These areas are universal access and connectivity, digital government, digital skills, data and emerging technologies, digital entrepreneurship. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as Africa and the world embraces digital transformation to enhance their socio-economic development, the explosive growth and aggregation of data has been one of the relevant topics for discussion at international fora. Data is now the newly found gold and oil due to the high economic value of it. Data will drive decision making and where the resources should be prioritized to impact livelihood of people and economic growth for the country.
In our next story, the Deputy Director General at the National Communications Authority, Dr. Eza Osei Yeboah-Boateng, has joined calls for government to regulate the use of artificial intelligence in the country. According to him, this is critical due to the prevalent use of AI in many economic activities. Dr. Yeboah Boateng was giving a keynote speech on the role of AI in emerging economic opportunities at the graduation ceremony of the Nobel International Business School. He therefore believes that there is a growing need for transparent and responsible AI systems to support economic growth.
The use of an AI in predictive policing presents benefits in crime prevention, but poses risk to privacy and individual freedoms. It's worth noting that the Ghana Police Service is considering the use of predictive policing and incorporating big data and data mining to combat crime. Ghana needs AI regulation. As AI becomes more prevalent, there is a growing need for transparent and responsible AI systems. Some believe that only truly autonomous AI should be given legal status. But since this type of AI does not yet exist, it's more reasonable to hold the designers, manufacturers, owners, and users of AI responsible for any harm caused. In Ghana, key policy concerns include the quality of training data sets, AI bias, and privacy and security issues. The government aims to establish clear boundaries and standards for AI development while recognizing its potential for economic growth.
And on that note, we cap off the business update, handing over back to Sweetie Abochi.
The conversations begin now because we're wrapping up for the AM News and it's time to get to the newspaper review segment. You want to stay with us.